Aether is about to release in July 2025 630 million tokens within potentially a week period of time. Is that going to tank the price? I'm doing this video because yesterday I had a video about Aether and Render, and a commenter here pointed out, hey, there's about to be a large drop of tokens. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what it means. And I'm doing this video because I think it's very important. The last one I did on this topic was maybe 6 months ago. So if you're new to the channel, you may not have seen it, discussing market cap and fully diluted value. And you need to understand it because you'll see a lot of people post things like, wow, a certain number of tokens are coming out, the price is going to be cut in half. There was an example of that, Ondo, not too long ago, and I did a video on that to explain the point, and I'll show you that as well. I'm Brian, I'm a big dumb animal, that's my disclaimer. I talk about individual cryptos, I also do how-to videos. More importantly, take a look, I got a school community, and I have all sorts of courses to teach you everything you could possibly want to know about crypto. I really believe it's the future, and if you want, I have daily discussions in there as well. You can have discussions with me. Not sure that's a selling point, but you could if you're interested. All right, let's get started. All right, so let's start at the beginning. And that is if we look at, for example, Aether. If you're not familiar, two things people will talk about, but mainly they focus on market cap. Because if you go to the main page of CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, they list these coins, and you can see numerical order because they're listed by this, the market cap, right there. How do you compute it? Very simple. You take the number of coins that are in circulation. So right here it says circulating supply, and it says total supply. So the total, some of them are finite numbers. Like in this case, they're saying 42 billion, no more, no less. There are other ones we're not going to get into, but supply can change. Okay, this is a finite number, 42 billion over time. How much is actually in circulation? Meaning people have them. It could be on an exchange. It could be in, in liquidity pools, for example. It could be on just sitting in someone's wallet, whatever. But out there is about almost 10 billion. So that's 1/4. Okay. So to compute market cap, you take what's in circulation by the current price. So 10 billion times it's almost at 3 cents. That comes out to be a $285 million market cap. And that's what they use to rank it over here. The other value is the fully diluted market cap. And if you click, it'll actually resort because they can show very different. And here's why. To get fully diluted, you take the total supply, in this case 42 billion, times the 3 cents. And here it says that would be 1.25 billion. Okay, so 10 billion are out. There's about 40 billion, give or take. That's 25% are on the market. If you look at the market cap, 285 million. Fully diluted 1.25, it's about 25% of 1.25. So here's just a quick example I'll throw up on the screen. If you have 1 billion tokens in circulation, but 4 billion total, and in circulation, the current price is $1 times 1 billion, then the market cap is 1 billion. But if there's 4 billion total times $1, then fully diluted value is 4 billion. Okay, straightforward. All right, so why are people concerned when tokens are what they call unlocked or put out onto the market? Because the idea is if you've got 10 billion and a whole bunch more are now available, then that would make the price drop. Well, there's reasons why that would or wouldn't happen. We're going to get into that. First, let's look specifically at Aether. Aether has seasons. They have season 1, season 2, season 3. And they're saying that they're rewarding their long-term stakeholders and community. And they go into detail about who's eligible, when is it coming out. It's coming out in July. Now, when tokens are released, they can be given to whomever they want. And sometimes it could be early investors. It could be people that were early contributors, people that are currently working on the project. It could be community, people that are helping in various ways. So you also want to look at who's getting the tokens, because you're trying to get a general idea of are they just going to immediately sell them? Because if all those tokens go on the market at once, that could have a market impact. So Aether's talking about season 2. In their other press release here, it shows that season 2 is 630 million. They say sometime in July, and they have to be claimed. So I'm not sure all of them will be released, but let's just say it's 630 million. Doing the math here on 42 billion, it's 1.5% of this 42 billion. But people say, well, that doesn't matter because to impact the current price, we have to compare it to what's in supply, which is 10 billion. It's about 6% of what's in circulation. Let's talk about will that or won't that affect by looking at this Ondo video I put out 5 months ago. Ondo had 1.3 billion in circulation. They have a fixed total supply of 10 billion. So they only had about 10% of their tokens in circulation. So there's a lot more that are going to come out. And they didn't do a slow release. Their next release was over 1 billion all on one day. So they're going to go from 1.38 to 2.38, almost double the number of coins in circulation. The price was $1.30. And people were posting, oh, they're going to double the crypto coins, therefore the price is going to get cut in half, from $1.30 to half of that, 65 cents. Now that didn't happen, and here's why. The market cap doubled. Why? Because if you see here, the market cap again has to do with the number of circulating supply times the price. So in Ondo's case, they doubled the number of tokens times the price, so the market cap doubled. But the fully diluted value did not change. Why? Because fully diluted is always the total coins times the price. So if the price doesn't change, fully diluted value doesn't change. Even if more tokens are on the market, because the number of tokens are finite. So let's look at, for example, Aether. What's going to happen here? Let's assume the price stays exactly the same. Fully diluted value, remember, is calculated on the total supply. Has nothing to do with when coins are released or who they're given to. It has nothing to do with that. It's just total supply times the price. So it stays at 3 cents, it's going to stay the same. Now, more crypto will be out there, right? Because they're going to put 600 million, which is 6% of 10 billion. So if it's still the same price, this market cap will increase because market cap is number of coins times the price. What am I getting at? Well, if in the case of Ondo and the price had dropped in half, or if in the case of Aether, let's say it drops in half and it goes to 1.5 cents, half of what it is now, what would happen to fully diluted value? Number of coins times the price. It would go from 1.2 billion to 600 million. Not going to happen. Why? Why? Because fully diluted value, think of it as longer term valuation. It means what is this total crypto, or if it were a company, what is that total company worth? It's saying the total company is worth 1.2 billion. Is someone going to wake up 2 days from now? And by someone, I mean all the investors out there, all the hedge funds, all the institutional investors, all the individual investors. Are we going to wake up one morning and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. What was I thinking about Aether? 1.2 billion? It's not worth that. It's worth 600 million. And they're all going to slash the value of the company in half? Not unless there was some event, black swan event with Aether that no one thought about. Like they were completely lying about how many people were using it. They were lying about the fact that they're doing $141 million in revenue every year, and they're only doing 70 million. No. So that fully diluted value is really not going to change. That's why the price, even though in the short term, the price may move up or down a little bit. We'll see when those cryptos, when they come out. But it's also dependent upon whether or not they're going to sell all of that crypto. So the first thing, two things I wanted you to note was when you're looking at market cap, also look at fully diluted value. Market cap, short term, fully diluted, long term. And fully diluted is a much better way to compare two things. Like the other day, we compared Render, and we compared Render with Aether. Because if you want to truly compare and say, what does the market think about these two cryptos? And yesterday's video was about Render and Aether. And if I'm not mistaken, Render was about 2 billion fully diluted, and Aether was 1.2 billion fully diluted. It doesn't matter what their market caps are, because their market caps were way different. But if you look at the fully diluted value, that says that's how the market's valuing them. Aether at 60% of the value of Render. So you might say to yourself, whoa, I might think Aether's way more valuable than Render. If that's the case, then I'm going to say they're undervalued relative to Render. So look at fully diluted value when you're trying to compare two companies to see what the market thinks and get an idea of whether you think they're fully diluted or not. With respect to Aether and the price, another thing to realize is that this is currently Aether's almost at its all-time low. So do you think the people that are about to get 630 million are going to dump it on the market right away? Probably not, because it's at an all-time low, and many of us think we could potentially be going into a bull run, a cycle with more money coming in, prices moving up, risk on assets. So two things to note is, or I should say three things. First, it's 6% of circulating supply, not 50%, not 100%. But even Ondo, who doubled the doubled the number of tokens, didn't really drop in price. Second thing is, who's getting it? Well, it's people loyal to the community. It's not investors. Therefore, an investor, they want to put it in, sell, take their money out. If they're loyal to the community, they love the community, they love Aether, and they believe in Aether, and they're getting it at a point in time when it's so low, well, they like it for the long term. Chances are they're going to hold on to it. And third, most importantly, the difference between market cap and fully diluted, the market cap will change. It will go up. Fully diluted, more than likely, is going to stay exactly the same. The price might dip slightly, but not much, in my opinion. So hopefully you understand now. The whole point of this video was to talk about Aether specifically, because someone brought it up. I failed to bring it up in yesterday's video. I apologize. I should have said, hey, there's an unlock coming up, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal, because I don't. And this video is explaining why. Market cap, fully diluted, two different things. Fully diluted isn't going to dive unless people think all of a sudden that the value of that company is way different than they thought it was yesterday. So it might have a short-term blip. I don't believe it's going to be a big deal. Hope this was very helpful. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Please do like down below the video. It helps. And always leave comments. I respond, I think, to most all my comments. Even the funny ones where people make comments about me, good or bad. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.